Not all of the animals responded to the invitation to come and worship the baby Jesus. And not all of those who were there at the stable ought to have been. Owl was one of the ones who refused to come. He kept saying, "It's just a baby, a human baby. Why should I care?" And so he didn't go. But each of the animals who came back told Owl what he was missing. "Owl, you should see the baby. He's perfect. And his parents are so nice. There are all kinds of interesting people there. Even angels, Owl. You should go." And Owl's curiosity was piqued. But he said, "It's just a baby, just a human baby." But more and more animals came back with reports, and Owl's resistance began to fade. He wondered. But he'd made such a fuss about not going. It would be embarrassing to show up. But eventually, Owl decided he was just missing out on too much, so he flew off. But weeks had passed. Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus had left the stable, and Owl couldn't find them. Ever since, he sings, "Who will lead me to the baby Jesus? Who?" And Owl is so embarrassed about his poor choice that he only comes out at night, hoping none of the other animals will see him. Well, Cat did go. The wild cat went to the manger, but she refused to bow when the other animals bowed. Mary looked at the standoffish cat and laughed. "Oh, Cat, very well. From now on you will always be near the humans, but you will never be the servant of the humans." And it must be so, because people don't really give cats jobs the way they make other animals work. Horse was in the stable. Now you might remember that the baby Jesus was lying on a bed of hay. And what is hay to a horse but a tasty snack? Horse looked at the baby lying there, and Horse noticed the hay the baby was lying on. Oh, she was hungry. She just wanted a little taste. And so when no one was looking, Horse grabbed a big mouthful of hay out from underneath the baby. Well, when Horse pulled that mouthful of hay away, everything else shifted, and the baby rolled into the hole. Well, that motion woke him up, and he started to cry. Mary came running. "Horse, did you see what happened?" "No," said Horse. Well, Mary picked up the baby. She shushed and hushed, and he went back to sleep. She laid him in the hay and turned away. And Horse just couldn't resist temptation. She grabbed another big mouthful, this time from the other side of the manger. And once again, everything shifted, and the baby rolled into that hole and up against the edge of the manger and started to cry. Mary came and picked up the baby. "Horse, did you touch the baby?" "No," said Horse. "I didn't touch the baby." Well, Mary rocked her son and laid him back in the manger, and then she turned away. And when she wasn't looking, Horse just had to. She grabbed a huge mouthful of hay out from underneath the baby's feet, and little Jesus slid forward and cried. This time, Mary caught the horse with a mouthful of hay. "Horse," she said, "if that's the way you are going to be, that's the way you will always be. From now on, horses will have to eat, and they will never be full." And I think it must be true, because any time I've seen a horse, it's eating or reaching for more grass to eat. Mule was there in the stable too. Now, mules are crosses between horses and donkeys, and their song, if you want to call it that, is also a cross between a horse's whinny and a donkey's ee-aw. Unfortunately, it is not beautiful music. It seemed that no sooner had baby Jesus fallen back to sleep after the trouble with the horse that Mule gave a great yaw, yaw, yaw. Well, that noise scared the baby. Wouldn't it scare you if you were sleeping? He started to cry. Mary picked him up and sang to him. Mule, she said, would you mind very much not doing that again? Could you please just keep it quiet? Yes, certainly, said Mule. Well, Mary laid baby Jesus back in the hay, and she went to find a spot to sleep. But she'd only laid down when Mule did it again. Yaw, yaw, yaw. It wasn't exactly a soothing lullaby for a baby, more like an annoying alarm clock, and baby Jesus cried. Mary came to get him and said, Mule, Mule, please, the baby needs sleep. We need sleep, at least until morning. Could you not do that? Of course, said Mule. Mary got the baby back to sleep. She laid him down, and she lay down to sleep. 5 minutes passed in peace. 10 minutes. But then, yaw, 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 and the baby cried. Who could blame him? Mary came to pick him up. Mule, I know that we are in your space. I know that we have taken over your barn, and I am sorry that we are inconveniencing you. But please, please, could you be quiet? Why, yes, said Mule. Mary got the baby back to sleep. She lay down and fell asleep. And for 5, 10, 15 minutes there was peace. But then, yaw, 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 and Mary lost her temper. Think about it from her point of view. She'd been on a long, exhausting journey. She'd just given birth. She was trying to care for a newborn in a barn, and she hadn't slept. And now Mule kept waking the baby and making him cry. Mule, said Mary, you are not fit to be a mother. From now on, mules will never have babies. And Mary's curse must have stuck, because as far as I know, no mule has ever given birth since. There were troublemakers that night at the stable, but I know if you had been there, you'd have been perfectly behaved.